30 minutes before the entrance to the college entrance examination. The lead teacher went to confirm the exam room, leaving the file bag containing the entire class's admission tickets in the lounge. Lin Wanwan, the class beauty who called herself the little koi of the world, opened the bag and took a red pen to scribble wildly over the barcodes on all the admission tickets. The master said that drawing an evil banishing talisman on the barcode will bless our scores when the invigilation machine scans them. In my previous life, I desperately snatched the pen from her and rubbed my fingers red with an eraser, saving everyone's admission tickets. The entire class performed exceptionally well, all getting into top-tier universities. At the celebration banquet, the class beauty cried her heart out. If the talisman had been completed, everyone could have gotten into Tsinghua or Peking University. It's all Luo Ning's fault for being so careless. My classmates tied me to a chair, and my boyfriend Gu Yan gleefully drove a red-hot iron rod into my knees. You've ruined everyone's dream of getting into Tsinghua and Peking University. You meddlesome witch. In the midst of the excruciating pain, I etched their twisted, grinning faces into my memory. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back 30 minutes before entering the exam hall. The class beauty was stabbing the barcode with a red pen. This time, I won't stop them. I'll watch as they ruin their own futures with their own hands. Wanwan, this evil-repelling talisman you drew is so pretty, bright red and full of festive energy. Exactly. Wanwan spent a fortune to learn this method from a master on Zhongnan Mountain. Covering that dark barcode with red talismans will make our test papers shine with golden light once they go through the scanner. Cheers of flattery echoed all around. I lifted my head, gaze sweeping over the crowd to lock firmly onto Lin Wanwan, sitting right in the center. She was dressed in a custom designer gown, holding a thick red permanent marker in her hand, scribbling frantically all over a stack of admission tickets on the table. She grandly called them evil-repelling talismans. Boyfriend Gu Yan stood beside her, his eyes full of adoration as he handed her the exam admission ticket. Wanwan sacrificed even her pre-exam rest time for everyone to do well on the test. Your wrist must be sore from all that drawing, right? Lin Wanwan delicately rubbed her wrist and lifted her chin. Oh, as long as everyone can share in my good luck and get into Tsinghua or Peking University together, what does a little tiredness matter? Listening to these disgusting conversations, I couldn't help but sneer coldly in my heart. In my previous life, seeing the scene, I was scared out of my wits. This time, I didn't rush forward as I had in my previous life. Instead, I took half a step back with a smile, crossing my arms in front of my chest. Of course, I'll draw. My voice was extremely calm, since it's Wan's kind intention. The more you fill it in, the better. Don't leave any gaps. Lin Wanwan snorted smugly. At least you know what's good for you. She lowered her head and, with great effort, covered the remaining exam admission tickets with densely packed red crosses. What are you doing? What are you all gathered around the table for? The door to the break room was suddenly pushed open, and the head teacher, Mr. Chin, walked in holding a water cup. When he saw the pile of admission tickets on the table, all smeared with bright red ink, the glass water cup in his hand slipped and shattered on the floor with a loud crash. Mr. Chen's face instantly drained of all color, his voice cracking as he shouted, "What have you done to the exam admission tickets?" Mr. Chen lunged at the desk like a madman, his hands trembling. He grabbed the top exam admission ticket, his eyes bulging as if they were about to pop out. "Who did this? Who did this?" Mr. Chen was shaking with rage, pointing at the entire class and roaring, the veins on his forehead bulging one by one. Lin Wanwan was startled, pouting her lips in grievance. "Teacher, why are you yelling at me? I'm praying for everyone. I'm blessing the exam results. Praying for blessings. Spiritual blessing." Hearing such idiotic remarks, Teacher Chen nearly spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. He frantically snatched the wet wipes from the table, desperate to wipe off the red mark on the exam admission ticket. But Lin Wanwan had used the cheapest, super permanent waterproof marker. The moment he wiped it, the red ink spread instantly, smudging the entire barcode area into a glaring red blob. It was completely beyond saving. Teacher Chen slumped into the chair, clutching his chest, gasping for breath in heavy, ragged pants. It's over. It's all over. Without a barcode, identity cannot be verified. The machines at the exam center simply won't scan it. You won't even be able to get through the main gate. Faced with Teacher Chen's despair, some even let out a disdainful sneer. The class monitor pushed up his glasses and spoke arrogantly. Mr. Chen, isn't your thinking a bit too outdated? That's practically alarmist. With a top class at City No. 1 High School, with the top few dozen students from the entire province right here. Gu Yan even stepped forward, snatched the exam admission ticket from Mr. Chen's hand, and carefully handed it to Lin Wanwan, looking down at the teacher. His tone was full of superiority. Ms. Chen, there's no need to scare yourself like that. If the exam hall dares to hold us up over a lousy barcode, they're basically going against the entire city's college admission rate. Worst case, we can just manually verify the photos later, right? Wanwan, this is about superstition. Better to believe it than not. Please don't jinx our exam luck. Listening to the arrogant remarks of these so-called geniuses, I stood in the corner, biting my lip hard to keep myself from laughing out loud. The more they read, the more their brains seem to turn into empty husks, treating the discipline of the college entrance exam as a joke. They truly believe the world revolves around them. Teacher Chen was so furious that his lips trembled, and he pointed at Guyan's nose, unable to utter a single word for a long time. You are utterly lawless. This is the college entrance exam. It's the code that matters, not the person. He frantically pulled out his phone, intending to call the leading principal. Just then, the cold and mechanical broadcast from the loudspeaker outside the restroom echoed. All candidates, please bring your admission tickets and ID cards. Proceed to the security checkpoint and line up in order to enter the venue. There are only 25 minutes left until the exam begins. Lin Wanwan grabbed the admission tickets on the table and handed them out to everyone like dealing playing cards. She waved her hand triumphantly. Let's go. Classmates, with my evil banishing talismans, will dominate the exam hall. Thank you, Wanwan. Wanwan is the best. All 49 classmates gathered around Lin Wanwan and Guyan, heading in a grand procession toward the security checkpoint. I silently followed at the very end of the line. In my previous life, my mind was completely occupied with how to clean up their barcodes for them, to the point where I even forgot to take my backup admission ticket. This time, I quietly pulled out the backup admission ticket from my pocket, clean, neat, and clearly defined in black and white. The real show is finally about to begin. In front of the security checkpoint, a crowd of people gathered. Red warning lines formed long queues, with several fully armed special police officers patrolling the area. Gu Yan and Lin Wanwan swaggered up to the security checkpoint of the first examination hall with full confidence. He handed the admission ticket covered in red crosses to the security officer. The security inspector was a middle-aged woman in her 30s. The moment she saw the exam admission ticket, her brows immediately furrowed into a tight knot. "What is this smeared on here?" she questioned while placing the admission ticket under the scanner. Beep, beep, beep. A sharp alarm instantly blared outside the examination hall, piercing and unsettling. The machine screen displayed large red characters, barcode damaged, unable to identify examinee identity. The security inspector's expression darkened, and he pushed the admission ticket back with strict impartiality. documents damaged, identity questionable, unqualified. The arrogance on Guyan's face instantly froze. He widened his eyes in disbelief, then became furious. Is your machine broken? Scan it again. The security guard gave him a cold glance. The machine isn't broken. Your barcode has been maliciously altered on a large scale and is now invalid. Next. Who do you think you are, daring to tell me to step back? Guyan felt he had lost face in front of Lin Wanwan, and instantly flew into a rage. He slammed the table and pointed at the security officer's nose, shouting angrily, "This is an evil-dispelling talisman. It's for blessing my exam results. Do you even understand? Let me tell you, I'm Guyan from the top class of City No. 1 High School. My grades are easily among the top 50 in the entire province. You've wasted a minute of my time, and you can never make up for it in your entire life. Get me manually checked and let me through, right now." The students behind, seeing this, also started to join in the commotion. The sports committee member, relying on his tall and sturdy build, pushed his way to the front and forcefully shook the security check table. "That's right. What's so arrogant about a gatekeeper? Our entire class has this exam pass. If you dare to stop us today, we'll even complain to the principal and get all of you fired." Lin Wanwan even stamped her foot in a spoiled manner, rolling her eyes and sneering. "I think she's just jealous of our good grades, deliberately making a big deal out of nothing to give us a hard time." Arrogant, overbearing, and condescending, these overindulged, school-spoiled brats actually tried to challenge the bottom line of a national-level exam by throwing tantrums. The security officer was so angry her face turned pale, but her professionalism kept her from taking a single step back. She immediately pressed the intercom on her chest. Channel 1 calling security. A candidate is causing trouble and rushing the security checkpoint. In less than 10 seconds, 3 riot police officers, armed with guns, quickly rushed over. The pitch-black baton was instantly drawn, and although the cold muzzle of the gun pointed downward, the chilling aura of authority immediately enveloped the entire scene. "What are you doing? Everyone step back." The leading officer shouted sharply, like a sudden clap of thunder on a calm day. "First warning. Step back behind the cordon if you dare. Disrupt the college entrance exam order again. Your qualification will be revoked immediately." The cold police batons and the merciless warning finally instilled a hint of fear in these arrogant students. Several boys in the front row turned pale with fright and instinctively took several steps back. Guyan's arrogance was also suppressed, but he was still stubbornly trying to save face, muttering through gritted teeth, "You are abusing your authority. I'm going to post this online and let netizens cyberbully you." Just as the situation was at a standstill, Principal Liu, the leading principal, came stumbling and running frantically from a distance. He had been smoking outside the restroom and rushed over upon hearing the commotion. When he saw the uniformly blood-red, colored admission tickets in the hands of all 50 students in the class, Principal Liu's legs went weak, and with a thump, he nearly collapsed to his knees. "Crazy! You're all crazy!" Without even bothering to wipe the cold sweat from his forehead, Principal Liu scrambled frantically toward the chief examiner. The principal, who usually held a lofty position at the school, now bent over almost humbly, his voice trembling. "Chief Examiner Lee, it's a misunderstanding. This is all a misunderstanding. I am the principal of City No. 1 High School. These children are the only ones in our city aiming for Tsinghua and Peking University. The kids were under too much pressure before the exam and pulled a prank. How about this? Let them enter the exam hall to take the Chinese test first, and I'll immediately send someone back to the Academic Affairs Office to get their identity documents." Chief Examiner Director Lee walked over with his hands behind his back, his face ashen, He cast a cold glance at the group of students who were still whispering and looking resentful, his tone devoid of any warmth. Principal Liu, the examination hall is like a battlefield, and rules are ironclad. Look at how they threatened the security inspector just now. Do they have even a shred of reverence for the exam? They dare to collectively and maliciously deface the documents for national level exams. Without barcodes, the system can't record them. Who will take responsibility if something goes wrong? Whoever put it in will go to jail, the chief examiner resolutely declared. Documents that don't meet the standards, not a single one is allowed to pass. Hearing the examiner's merciless rejection, Lin Wanwan completely lost it. She abruptly shook off Guyan's hand, her sharp voice piercing everyone's eardrums. If you won't let go, then don't. Who are you trying to scare? She turned around and raised her arm, rallying the entire class. Classmates, they're deliberately targeting us. We're the main force for college admissions in the entire province. Everyone, listen to me. Let's boycott the exam together today. We'll just stand right here and not go in. I bet once the exam starts and the higher-ups investigate the plummeting admission rates, someone's going to have to take the blame. By then, they'll have to carry us in on a sedan chair just to get us inside. That's right. We're boycotting the exam. No more exams. Let them beg us. The brainwashed students were like a group of mindless zombies, frantically echoing Lin Wanwan. Some even plopped down on the steps outside the exam hall, putting on the airs of a boss. Watching this absurd and ridiculous scene, I hid at the back of the crowd, nearly laughing to tears. This kind of idiotic plot only found in brain-dead novels was actually happening to these so-called top students. Shut up. All of you shut up. Principal Liu's eyes were wide with fury as he angrily slapped the class monitor, who had been leading the commotion, hard across the face with a crisp smack. The class monitor's glasses flew right off. If you want to die, don't drag the whole school down with you. Principal Liu looked at his watch in despair. There were only 10 minutes left until the official start of the exam. Go to the Academic Affairs office to reapply for the file. Hurry up! Teacher Chin shouted frantically beside him. Principal Liu slammed his fist against the iron railing, tears welling up in his eyes. It's too late. Today is the weekend and the Academic Affairs office is locked. Going there and back, plus unlocking the door, would take at least 40 minutes. In 15 minutes, the exam hall doors will be locked and not even a god could save them. Hearing the words too late within the group that had been stubbornly shouting, a hint of panic finally emerged. A gust of wind blew by, and Guiyan's back was instantly drenched in cold sweat. He instinctively glanced at the nearby exam halls, where all the other regular candidates had already entered. The sound of the exam hall rules being broadcast over the loudspeaker even echoed through the teaching building. Wan. Guiyan swallowed hard, his voice trembling. Maybe we should just give in. What if they really don't come out to invite us? Impossible. Lin Wanwan screamed. My dad even gave gifts to the director of the Education Bureau. They wouldn't dare not let me take the exam. Countdown. 5 minutes. 3 minutes. 1 minute. In the vast examination center square, a deathly silence prevailed. No miracle occurred and no one came out to invite them in. The broadcast sounded cold and merciless. 1 minute left until the official start of the exam. The examination center gate will be closed soon. Boom! The heavy black metal security door, driven by an electric motor, slid relentlessly toward the center. It was not until this moment that those arrogant, privileged prodigies finally came to their senses. No privileges. No one spoils them. The college entrance exam is really going to shut them out. No, don't close the door. Just as everyone was on the verge of despair and collapse, I leisurely pulled out the perfectly intact, clearly printed black and white backup exam admission ticket from my backpack. I stepped over Lin Wanwan and Guyan, who were slumped on the ground, and walked straight up to the security inspector. Beep. Verification passed. Under the stunned gaze of the entire class, the security inspector pulled aside the caution tape and let me walk through. I stepped over the threshold, turned around, and flashed Lin Wan a supremely mocking smile. Thanks for your evil dispelling talisman. Not only did it dispel your evil, but it also cleared away 49 competitors for me. This generous gift. I'll gladly accept it. Outside the door, the heart-wrenching screams of Gu Yan and Lin Wan completely pierced the sky. Bang! The heavy black security door slammed shut behind me, cutting off all the noise and screams from outside. I took a deep breath and walked briskly toward the first examination hall. Sitting in my seat, I received the Chinese language exam paper, still fragrant with the scent of ink. I felt nothing but clarity and ease. Outside the examination center's gates, it had already turned into a living hell. 15 minutes after the exam began, latecomers were absolutely forbidden from entering. This means that those favorites of heaven outside the door will have their Chinese scores directly recorded as 0. 150 points for Chinese. In the battlefield of the college entrance examination, where 1 point can eliminate thousands of competitors, even if they score full marks later, they will definitely have no chance of getting into Tsinghua or Peking University. Open the door. Let us in. Gu Yan was kicking the iron door like a mad dog, his face covered in tears and snot. I'm from the top class. I passed the first-year cutoff. Please, let me take the exam. The security guard inside the door watched him coldly. Lin Wan slumped to the ground, still unable to believe that she had actually been locked out. At that moment, parents who had received the school's emergency notification rushed frantically from all directions to the entrance of the exam site. The first to charge over was the mother of the class study monitor. She pushed through the crowd and saw her son standing outside the door with a dazed expression on his face. Son, weren't you supposed to be inside taking the exam? Why are you out here? The class study monitor let out a loud wail and immediately knelt on the ground. Mom, I don't want to go in. My Chinese score is gone. I can't get into Peking University anymore. The parent group chat instantly exploded. Dozens of parents rushed toward their children, crying and wailing in despair. What on earth is going on? How could there be a problem with the admission ticket? Gu Yan's mother was so anxious that she stomped her feet and grabbed Gu Yan by the collar. Gu Yan trembled all over in fear, pointing at Lin Wan, who was slumped on the ground. It's her. It was Lin Wan who insisted on drawing an evil banishing talisman on our barcodes. The security scanner can't detect it. It's going to ruin us all. The parents' gazes instantly turned into dozens of poison daggers, fixed firmly on Lin Wan. Evil banishing talisman. Drawing talismans on the college entrance exam admission ticket. The class monitor's mother trembled with rage. Her vision went dark and she nearly fainted on the spot. She turned her head and charged at Lin Wan like a mother leopard protecting her cub. Smack! A crisp, loud slap landed hard on Lin Wan's face. You vicious little, you've ruined my son's entire life. Lin Wan was struck so hard that blood trickled from the corner of her mouth and half of her face instantly swelled up like a head. She had been pampered since childhood and had never suffered such humiliation. Immediately screaming out, "How dare you hit me? Do you know who my father is? So what if we're missing one Chinese language exam? With our abilities, we can still get into a top-tier university with the remaining subjects. It's all that Luo Ning's fault. She brought a spare admission ticket herself and didn't even remind us." Hearing Lin Wan still shirking responsibility at such a time, even Gu Yan couldn't stand it anymore. Lin Wan, shut up. You were the one who smeared the barcode. Do you still think you haven't caused us enough trouble? Dozens of parents, having lost their senses, rushed forward all at once. Some grabbed Lin Wan's hair, while others kicked and punched her. Beat this jinx to death. Make her pay for my daughter's future. Just as the situation was about to spiral out of control, a black Maybach screeched to a halt by the roadside. Lin Wanwan's nouveau riche biological father, Lin Daoqiang, rushed down with 4 bodyguards in tow. All of you, stop! The bodyguards roughly shoved aside the surrounding parents, forming a protective circle around Lin Wanwan. Lin Daoqiang watched his daughter being beaten, his heart aching so much it felt like it was being twisted. He turned his head and pointed arrogantly at all the parents present. It's no big deal. So what if we miss the Chinese exam? My daughter meant well, but ended up doing something wrong. What right do you pour? Pathetic people have to hit her? At worst, I'll pay compensation. 10,000 for each family. Take the money and get lost. The entire room fell into a dead silence for 2 seconds. Then, an angry, cold laugh erupted from the crowd. The speaker was the class monitor's father, a well-known and influential bureau chief in the city. He stepped forward, looked coldly at Lin Daoqiang, and directly threw a bank card at his face. 100,000. I'll give you $1 million to buy your daughter's life. Will you sell? My son has been winning math Olympiad gold medals since he was a child. He's destined for Tsinghua University. Lin Daoqiang, you started with an illegal coal mine. You country bumpkin. Do you really think money can buy my son's future? Lin Daoqiang looked at the class monitor's father's face, his arrogant demeanor instantly extinguished, his legs trembling violently. Director Lee, Director Lee, I didn't know you were here. Lin Daoqiang's tongue was tied in knots. The class monitor's father had a cold look in his eyes and directly pulled out his phone. Lin Daoqiang, didn't you say you've given gifts to the Education Bureau and have connections everywhere? Today, I'll show you what it means when the sky falls. He immediately dialed a phone call. Investigate. Dig up everything about Lin Daoqiang's mining companies, taxes, and fire safety. Turn it all upside down. Lin Daoqiang was so terrified that he collapsed to the ground with a thud, his face as pale as paper. He knew that he was completely finished, yet Lin Wanwan was still recklessly shouting, Dad, why are you afraid of him? Our family has plenty of money. Smack. Lin Daoqiang immediately responded with a resounding slap, sending Lin Wanwan flying to the ground. You good for nothing. Shut up. A farce came to a temporary end amidst the parents' wails and curses. 2:30 p.m. The math exam was about to begin. The Education Bureau urgently opened a green channel, using manual ID verification to issue temporary exam admission tickets for these 49 students. When they arrived at the exam site entrance again, their eyes were red and swollen. They happened to run into me, holding a transparent stationery bag, walking over refreshed and clear-headed. Luo Ning, Lin Wanwan saw me and rushed over like a mad dog. You deliberately wanted to see us make fools of ourselves, didn't you? You clearly had clean exam. You were the one who confidently claimed the evil dispelling talisman could be consecrated, and you all rushed to apply the barcode. I warned you, but you insisted on walking right into the line of fire. How is that my fault? Gu Yan's eyes were bloodshot, and he glared at me with gritted teeth. Luo Ning, you're truly vicious. How could you stand by and do nothing? I took a step back with a look of disgust on my face. Gu Yan, the way you look now, not even capable of getting into a vocational college, truly disgusts me. I hope your math exam this afternoon can be as arrogant as it was this morning. After saying that, I turned around without a shred of mercy and walked into the security checkpoint. Actually, I know the mindset of this group of people has completely collapsed. The college entrance exam tests not only knowledge, but also mentality, and this year's math paper is said to be the most difficult in 10 years. The real show has only just begun. In the first examination hall, It was so quiet that only the rustling sound of pen tips rubbing against paper could be heard. I got the exam paper and quickly glanced over it. Sure enough, this year's questions were extremely difficult, with the major problems even going slightly beyond the syllabus, touching on a bit of advanced university mathematics. But I wasn't the least bit flustered. In my previous life, I was a problem-solving maniac, and I had already rehearsed these types of questions countless times in my mind. My pen moved as if guided by divine inspiration. My thoughts were clear, and line after line of neat formulas flowed onto the paper. Lin Wanwan, sitting diagonally in front of me, was now on pins and needles. She was sweating profusely, her hand, gripping the pen, trembling uncontrollably. How can it be so difficult? I don't know how to solve any of these problems. The shadow of scoring 0 in Chinese was still lingering in her mind, and now she was faced with this math paper that seemed like an incomprehensible text. Lin Wanwan's psychological defenses completely collapsed. Her grades had always been heavily inflated, relying entirely on Guyan to pass her cheat sheets. Now, in the high-stakes environment of the college entrance exam, her true abilities were fully exposed. With more than half of the exam time gone, her answer sheet remained almost entirely blank, save for her name. Under extreme fear, she swallowed hard and began to glance back repeatedly, trying to look at Guyan sitting behind her. Guyan was also sweating profusely at the moment, but at least he was stubbornly tackling the major questions, taking advantage of the moment when the invigilator around. Lin Wanwan fished out a small paper ball from her pocket. It was a formula sheet she had secretly hidden in the lining of her skirt before the exam. She had just unfolded the paper ball. "What are you doing?" A stern reprimand exploded within the examination hall. The chief invigilator, like a hawk, rushed directly to Lin Wanwan's desk. He pressed down on her hand, which she was trying to hide. That note covered in formulas was clearly exposed to everyone's gaze. Lin Wanwan's face instantly drained of all color, her entire body trembling like a sieve. "Teacher, I didn't. This isn't mine." Caught red-handed and still trying to deny it, the invigilator was utterly impartial, directly taking away her exam paper and pressing the intercom. First examination hall. Candidate Lin, so-and-so, was caught with a cheat note, requesting the inspection team to intervene. Lin Wanwan completely lost her mind. She grabbed the desk of Guyan behind her. "Guyan, save me. Hurry, and tell the teacher that you gave me this note. I'm innocent." Guyan widened his eyes, looking at Lin Wanwan as if she were a monster. "Are you crazy? Why drag me down with your cheating?" The inspection team rushed to the scene. Lin Wanwan was not only disqualified from the exam for cheating in the test room, but also had all her qualifications for this year's college entrance examination revoked. Moreover, you're banned from taking exams for 3 years. "No, you can't take me away. My dad has money." Lin Wanwan was forcibly lifted by 2 security guards and dragged out like a dead dog. A piercing, miserable scream echoed through the hallway, sounding utterly unpleasant. After Lin Wanwan was dragged away, Gu Yan in the examination room was not spared either. Due to Lin Wanwan's earlier accusations and the fact that the invigilator discovered handwriting on Gu Yan's scratch paper that resembled that on Lin Wanwan's note, Gu Yan was directly labeled as a suspected accomplice in cheating. His exam paper was confiscated on the spot, and he was taken to the Academic Affairs Office for isolation and investigation. 2 top students were expelled from the examination hall in succession. The remaining 47 students were left in an even more dire state of mind. Those who had been barely able to solve a couple of problems before were now trembling so badly they couldn't even hold a compass steady. Some of the more psychologically fragile girls even broke down, burying their faces in their desks and sobbing uncontrollably until they were eventually persuaded by the teacher to leave the examination hall. This highly anticipated college entrance examination has completely turned into a grave for these people. 2 days later, in the afternoon, the final bell for the English exam rang. I let out a long sigh of relief and walked out of the examination hall with a relaxed expression. Just as I stepped out of the school gate, I witnessed a spectacle even more dramatic than the exam hall. Outside the school gate, more than a dozen law enforcement vehicles were parked, their lights flashing. Lin Dachong, handcuffed, was being escorted by 2 police officers toward a police car. Surrounding him were furious parents and journalists armed with cameras and microphones. The class monitor's father acted swiftly and decisively, accomplishing everything in just 2 days. It was confirmed that Lin Dachong's coal mine had evaded taxes and concealed multiple safety incidents. Not only were all of Lin Dachong's assets seized, but he also faced at least 10 years in prison. Lin Dachong, give me back my son's life. A family member who had lost their son in a mining accident rushed forward and scratched Lin Dachong's face fiercely. Lin Dachong, his face ashen, was shoved into the police car like a pile of mud. In a corner beside the police car, Lin Wan huddled on the ground, her hair disheveled. You deserve it. I coldly spat out 2 words. Just then, Gu Yan, his eyes red, rushed out from the crowd. Although he was cleared of the suspicion of collaborating in cheating, he missed the math exam and scored 0 in Chinese. With 2 major subjects scoring 0, his future is essentially ruined for life. Lin Wan, give me back my future. Gu Yan, like a frenzied beast, grabbed Lin Wan by the neck and pinned her firmly to the ground. It's all because of you drawing those damn evil talismans, and even framing me for cheating. The 2 of them were tearing at each other like mad dogs in the mud at the school gate, looking utterly disgraceful. The day the college entrance exam results were announced, I sat in front of the computer, watching the red list pop up on the screen, a slight smile curling at the corner of my mouth. Total score, 730 points. Top scorer in science in the province. Almost as soon as the results came out, my phone was flooded with calls from the admissions offices of Tsinghua and Peking University. Yet, at this moment, the former class WeChat group was eerily silent. Since the day the college entrance exam ended, this group, once filled with boasting and flattery, has not seen a single word spoken, because it was too devastating. All 49 students failed in Chinese due to a mental breakdown. The average score in mathematics was less than 60. The once top-performing class that looked down on the entire school didn't have a single student who passed the undergraduate admission line. All failed to make the cut. Even more than half of them didn't even reach the vocational college admission line. In the evening, someone knocked on my door. I opened the door to find Mr. Chin standing outside, looking gaunt and haggard. He held a report card in his hand, his eyes sunken as if he had aged 10 years. Luo Ning, congratulations on being the top scorer in the province. You've brought great honor to our school. Teacher Chun gave a bitter smile and handed over an invitation. Tonight, the classmates are having a farewell dinner at Hongbin Restaurant. They want to apologize to you in person. Can you go? I took the invitation, glanced at the familiar names on it, and a playful, cold smile curled at the corner of my mouth. Apologize? Most likely. They saw that I became the provincial top scorer and wanted to emotionally manipulate me or just bask in the glory to get some benefits. All right, then. I tucked the invitation into my pocket, since it's a farewell dinner. It would be too disrespectful if I, the provincial top scorer, didn't show up. The moment I stepped into the private room, the once noisy room instantly fell into a deathly silence. There were more than 40 people sitting in the private room, all looking pale and haggard with dejected expressions. Gu Yan sat in the corner, the scratches on his face still not healed, clutching a wine glass tightly in his hand, his eyes fixed on me with a gloomy stare. What are you all looking at me for? Isn't this a farewell dinner? Let's eat. I smiled and urged everyone to start. The class monitor took a deep breath. picked up his wine glass, and stood up. He didn't even get into a third-tier university, and his father, the bureau chief, was so furious he almost broke his legs. Luo Ning, this toast is for you. The class monitor gritted his teeth, his voice filled with suppressed jealousy and resentment. You became the top scholar and soared to success. But what about us? We've all been ruined. You clearly had a backup admission ticket back then, and you knew perfectly well that drawing like that wouldn't get us into the exam hall. Why didn't you stop us? Even if you had just shouted out loud, we wouldn't have ended up in this state today. His words were like a fuse, instantly igniting the emotions of the entire room. That's right, Luo Ning. You're so selfish. You just want to see us fail on purpose, so you can show off your own abilities. We're all classmates. How can your heart be so cruel? These losers have finally bared their fangs. Bang! I suddenly grabbed the wine bottle on the table and smashed it hard on the ground. My heart is poisonous. I coldly scanned these disgusting faces, then directly pulled out my phone and pressed the play button. Instantly, the recording from the lounge before the exam played from the phone. Lin Wanwan's evil dispelling talisman is so beautiful. Everyone is sure to get into Tsinghua or Peking University. Better to believe it than not. Teacher Chen, don't mess with our exam luck. That Luo Ning is just jealous. Ignore her. I slammed my phone on the table, my gaze sharp as a knife. Did you hear that clearly? It's your own stupidity, pinning your future on a few broken red lines. It's your disregard for rules, acting arrogantly at the security checkpoint. Good advice wasted on those who court death. You're the one seeking your own doom. Can you blame me for not stopping you from jumping off a cliff? The class monitor was left speechless by the retort, his face flushing a deep purple as he slumped back into his chair. Just then, the door to the private room was slammed open from the outside. A woman in a grimy server's uniform, carrying a basin of foot-washing water, rushed in. It's Lin Wanwan. After her family went bankrupt and their property was seized, she had to work as a low-level cleaner in this restaurant to pay off debts. Seeing me, radiant and well-dressed, sitting in the main seat, Lin Wanwan's eyes instantly turned red. Luo Ning, what gives you the right to sit here and boss people around? She screamed like a madwoman, picked up the basin of foot-washing water, and splashed it toward me. I'm going to ruin you. I had been prepared and quickly dodged to the side. The basin of foul-smelling, foot-washing water flew past me and landed squarely on Guyan's face, who was standing right behind me. Ah, Guyan let out a howl of pain, wiped the foul water from his face, and immediately flew into a rage. Lin Wanwan, you're asking for death. Guyan grabbed a chair and mercilessly smashed it onto Lin Wanwan's back. You jinx! You made me miss out on even a vocational college. Guyan rushed forward, mounted Lin Wanwan, and unleashed a frenzy barrage of punches and kicks. Over 40 people tightly encircled Lin Wanwan in the center. Slaps, fists, and leather shoes rained down on Lin Wanwan like a storm. I watched this dog-eat-dog farce with cold eyes, feeling utterly disgusted. 3 days later, the city held an extremely grand provincial top scorer award ceremony for me. The mayor personally handed me the 100,000 yuan scholarship and the admission letter from Tsinghua University. Camera flashes flickered as dozens of media outlets aimed their lenses at me. Luo Ning, as the city's first science top scorer in 10 years, what success secrets would you like to share with your fellow students? The reporter held the microphone up to my mouth. I look at the camera, my smile exceptionally calm and resolute. There's no secret, just 4 words. Respect the rules. The college entrance exam is the fairest battlefield the nation has prepared for students from humble backgrounds. No superstition, no arrogance. Follow the rules and be down to earth. This is the reason I can stand here. This interview was broadcast repeatedly during prime time on the city television station. It immediately sparked a massive response across the entire internet. In stark contrast, another scandal surged to the top of the local trending searches. Top students from a high school elite class all fail college entrance exams. Miss exams due to superstitious destruction of admission tickets. Dozens detained after brawl at restaurant. The trending image accompanying the news was a photo of Guyan, his face covered in blood, being escorted into a police car. These once self-proclaimed elite giant babies had completely become the laughingstock of the entire internet. Nailed to the pillar of shame by countless netizens. Leaving the awards ceremony, I held the bouquet of flowers and walked toward the ride-hailing car waiting at the intersection. Suddenly, a dilapidated minivan came charging out from the side like a madman. The engine roared, heading straight toward me. Luo Ning, you're the one who put my daughter in the hospital. I'll run you over. In the driver's seat, Lin Wanwan's mother, with disheveled hair and a ferocious expression, stomped on the accelerator. Lin Daoqiang was imprisoned, and Lin Wanwan was severely beaten. This once lavishly adorned noblewoman was completely driven insane. I watched coldly as the dilapidated car charged toward me without a hint of panic. Because the traffic police on duty at the intersection had long noticed this vehicle driving in the wrong direction. Bang! A heavy-duty riot patrol vehicle executed a perfect drift from the side, crashing fiercely into the front of the van. The van instantly stalled, thick smoke billowing from under the hood. Several SWAT officers rushed forward, smashed the window, and forcibly dragged Lin Wanwan's mother out, pinning her down on the asphalt road. "Let me go. I'm going to kill that bitch." She struggled and held frantically, like a mad old dog. I stepped forward, looking down at her from above. The barcode on your daughter's exam admission ticket was smeared by her own hand. The one who broke her ribs was Gu Yan, the prospective son-in-law you once held in the highest regard. Whether your family lives or dies has absolutely nothing to do with me. Go to prison and reunite with your husband. Lin Wanwan's mother was directly placed under criminal detention for attempted intentional homicide. What awaits her is a long life behind bars. As for Lin Wanwan, after lying in the hospital for half a month, she was kicked out because she couldn't afford the medical bills. Her ribs were not properly set, leaving her with a lifelong disability and a slight hunch when she walks. Once the proud, beautiful, and spoiled class belle, now she can only drag her disabled body through the city's night market, pushing a dilapidated tricycle and selling the cheapest grilled sausages. Early September, the autumn air was crisp and refreshing. I dragged my suitcase and stepped through the ancient, solemn gates of Tsinghua University. The campus was bathed in bright sunshine, filled with vibrant faces everywhere. I embarked on my brand new life, a bright, open, and infinitely promising future. And in that old, small town thousands of miles away, after Gu Yan was released from the detention center, he had a criminal record and no school was willing to accept him for a retake. He could only go to a remote and scrupulous electronics factory, spending 15 hours a day tightening screws on the assembly line. Because of my slow movements, I was often scolded by the line leader. Late one night, Gu Yan finished his night shift and walked down the street. Dragging his exhausted body, he walked up to a sausage stand, dizzy with hunger. "One sausage, please." The vendor looked up. The moment their eyes met, both froze. Lin Wanwan, with a face smeared in grease and a hunched figure, looked at Gu Yan, who was dressed in worn-out factory clothes with a numb expression in his eyes. Neither of them spoke. There was no anger, no shouting, only a profound silence and despair. They had once been just one step away from that top university. It was their arrogance, ignorance, and self-destructive behavior that snuffed out all the light with their own hands. A gust of autumn wind blew by, sweeping up a few fallen leaves from the ground. Lin Wanwan mechanically turn the sausages, roasting over the charcoal fire. Gu Yen numbly handed over 3 yuan. Their lives are like the ashes falling from this charcoal fire, never to stir another ripple, forever mired in the deepest mud. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My mother-in-law is into health preservation. After attending a health lecture, she insisted on drinking mountain spring water and not even boiled. As a doctor, I explained to her from a professional perspective that mountain spring water might contain parasites and without proper treatment could also have other harmful substances. However, my mother-in-law didn't care at all, believing that what the health experts said was true. But after my husband and I took turns trying to dissuade her, she finally gave up. Later, my mother-in-law got cancer and actually believed it was because I stopped her from drinking the mountain spring water. When she invited me to go hiking, she pushed me off the mountain, killing me. My spirit drifted in the air, watching as my husband, to protect his mother, gave false testimony to prove that I had fallen on my own. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day my mother-in-law brought back the mountain spring water. This time, I won't stop her. I was reborn back to the day when my mother-in-law returned from her trip carrying a large bottle of mountain spring water. Let me tell you, this tour group was such a great deal. Not only did they take us out to have fun, but they also arranged a lecture by a health expert. Usually, you'd have to spend a lot of money just to hear something like that. My mother-in-law was holding all the health products she had bought, boasting excitedly to our relatives. Really, I heard from my daughter that many of these so-called health experts nowadays are just scammers. You better be careful not to get tricked. Exactly. They call it a lecture, but it's really just a trick to get you to buy more stuff and spend more money. Look, these health supplements don't even have a production date. You better not end up with health problems from taking them. Nowadays, with the internet being so advanced, even the elderly know that many health supplements are scams. If you want to stay healthy, you're better off exercising more. Oh, I know some of them are scams, but this one isn't. The expert didn't even ask us to buy anything. They were mainly promoting the benefits of mountain spring water. The stuff I'm showing you now is just something I bought on a whim, feeling a bit upset by her relatives' doubts. The mother-in-law insisted that the health supplements she had been tricked into buying were actually her own purchase. Then, she quietly pulled out a bucket of water. That's what really matters. The relatives found it odd that the mother-in-law treasured a bottle of water so much. What's so important about it? It's just a bottle of mineral water. Luckily, you only went to a nearby village for a trip. Otherwise, carrying such a heavy bottle of water back would have been exhausting. This isn't mineral water. It's mountain spring water I specially brought back from outside. Experts say mountain spring water is rich in minerals, which is good for your health. This time, we visited the longevity village. The people there live to at least 99 years old because they drink mountain spring water every day. Some relatives really couldn't listen any longer. If drinking mountain spring water could make you live to 99, wouldn't everyone in the world live a long life? I think you should listen to fewer lectures. Be careful not to get sick from drinking it. Upon hearing this, the mother-in-law's face fell. As people age, their health issues increase, and they start to fear death. She always felt that these relatives were cursing her. This is mountain spring water, unpolluted and perfectly fine. After speaking, my mother-in-law looked at me. Yuan, you're a doctor. Tell me, isn't mountain spring water better than tap water? I snapped back to reality. In my previous life, my mother-in-law had asked me the same question. Back then, I frowned as soon as I heard it and honestly told her that mountain spring water might contain parasites or other chemical substances, so it was best not to drink it. I even dug up a lot of experiments to prove it, hoping she wouldn't always think that drinking water could make her live 100 years. My mother-in-law's face immediately turned pale at that moment, when I and other relatives all said the mountain spring water was bad. It practically made her lose face completely. After the relatives left, she immediately called my husband back, wanting to vent her anger. Who would have thought that after seeing the examples I provided? My husband also firmly refused to let his mother drink the mountain spring water? In the end, after our persuasion, she finally gave up on drinking the mountain spring water. But I never expected that every time my mother-in-law got sick afterward, she would sarcastically say it was because I didn't let her drink the mountain spring water. In the end, she even blamed me for her cancer, believing that if she had drunk the mountain spring water, she would have lived a long and healthy life. After that, my mother-in-law kept giving me a hard time until one day, my mother-in-law came to me with deep remorse to apologize, saying she had been in a bad mood due to her illness, and she invited me to go hiking with her. I foolishly believed it. Little did I expect that after climbing to the mountaintop, what awaited me was my mother-in-law pushing me off the cliff. She acted discreetly, avoiding the crowd, and no one saw it except my husband. And compared to me, it was clear that my mother-in-law was more important to my husband. He concealed the cause of my death, publicly claiming that I had accidentally fallen off a cliff. Thinking of this, I looked at my mother-in-law and smiled sweetly. If you like it, go ahead and drink it. After all, it's just mountain spring water, and it's not like our family can't afford it. After the relatives left, my mother-in-law was in an especially good mood, humming a little tune as she tidied up the junk she had bought. Mom, I've put the mountain spring water in your room for you. Remember to drink it every day. All right? My mother-in-law was quite satisfied with my sensible behavior, but she still couldn't break the habit of criticizing me a bit. If you had been like this before, I would have treated you like my own daughter. I rolled my eyes where she couldn't see. Who wants to be her daughter? I have my own parents. I certainly don't want this troublemaker as my mom and dad. When my husband came back, he was still surprised because I hadn't had a child. My mother-in-law was very dissatisfied with me, and every day after he returned, he had to listen to her scold me. I never expected the atmosphere at home to be so good today. Mom, what good thing happened? You're so happy. Share it with me so I can be happy, too. Today Yuan really made me proud. You have no idea how awful your aunts looked when they left. After listening to my mother-in-law recount the events of the day, my husband frowned and pulled me aside. Yuan, could something happen if Mom drinks mountain spring water? Tap water is filtered and disinfected before it's safe to drink. Mountain spring water must be filthy inside. I sneered inwardly. It seemed he wasn't unaware of this. He was only telling me now because he wanted me to be the one to step forward and stop my mother-in-law. Looking at my despicable husband, I couldn't help but wish I could take him to the cliff where I had fallen to my death and push him over as well. Unfortunately, I couldn't do that. Only after I had managed to suppress the rage inside me did I finally speak. Honey, Mom just wants to drink mountain spring water. It should be fine once it's boiled, now that she's getting older. If we stop her from doing the things she wants, who else will support her? I pretended to be understanding, now fully embodying the image of a good daughter-in-law who cares for her mother-in-law. My mother-in-law had been eavesdropping on our conversation. When I said those words just now, I deliberately raised my voice, and I clearly saw her expression soften. In the past, when I tried to do what was best for her, she never showed me any kindness. Now that I've stopped interfering, she actually thinks I'm all right. People are just so damn ungrateful. But honey, seeing that my husband still wanted to say something, I quickly covered his mouth, making it impossible for him to speak. All right. You must be tired from work today. Hurry up and go eat. Mom made a lot of delicious food today to reward you. My husband really had no choice, seeing that my mother-in-law was also paying close attention to him. He didn't want to upset her, So he had to give up on bringing up the matter for the time being. He has always been a good son, supporting whatever my mother-in-law wants to do. And that's because I'm the one who opposes anything that might be harmful to her. After that, every time he tried to bring it up, I would interrupt him and not let him speak. As time went on and he saw that nothing bad happened, he stopped mentioning not letting my mother-in-law drink the mountain spring water. Watching my mother-in-law persist in drinking the mountain spring water every day, I smiled virtuously. I really am a considerate and understanding daughter-in-law. After all, ever since that day, my mother-in-law has been drinking mountain spring water every day, and our household water bill has even gone down by a few dollars. She had only brought back 1 bucket, and the mountain spring water was almost gone within a few days. As a good daughter-in-law, as soon as I noticed this, I quickly offered to take my mother-in-law to get more mountain spring water. Mom, I happen to be off work next weekend. I'll drive you to Longevity Village, and this time we'll bring back more mountain spring water. My mother-in-law's eyes lit up at the mention. She had been about to ask me to take her there, but I beat her to it. Really, that's wonderful. Last time, I wanted to bring back more, but I just couldn't carry it all by myself. Now that you're driving, I can buy a lot more. Yes, the mountain spring water my mother-in-law drinks still needs to be purchased. But I don't mind at all because my mother-in-law has one good quality. She has her own pension and doesn't care to spend my money. I drove for 2 hours and finally arrived at Longevity Village. The scenery here is truly beautiful, with clear waters and green mountains. Even in summer, there's a cool breeze blowing. No wonder people are willing to come here for tourism. After getting out of the car, my mother-in-law, holding several large oil jugs in both hands, walked up the mountain with great energy. Walking behind her, I looked more like an elderly person moving slowly and leisurely, not in a hurry at all. My mother-in-law didn't care at all whether I was keeping up or not. She just needed me to bring her here and then take her and her precious mountain spring water back home. She huffed and puffed her way up the hill, and as soon as she saw the flowing spring, she rushed over to fill her bottle with water. What a waste! What a waste! So much mountain spring water just flowing away. Honestly, these people have no idea how good mountain spring water is. Auntie, do you like drinking mountain spring water? Someone nearby saw the old lady fetching water and curiously approached. They had seen others doing the same along the way, but it was the first time they had seen someone carrying so many large bottles like her. That's right, mountain spring water is wonderful. Last time, even the health experts said that mountain spring water contains a lot of minerals, and drinking it regularly can help you live longer. At first, I didn't believe it either, but after drinking it for several days, I really felt better. That's why I came back for more. As soon as I climbed up, I saw the old lady proudly promoting how great the mountain spring water was to others, looking like a brainwashed fanatic. Some people nearby were already getting impatient and wanted to leave, probably feeling like they had run into a madwoman, but the old lady kept holding on to them and wouldn't let go. So, they couldn't really do anything. Finally, someone couldn't hold back anymore and retorted impatiently, "Auntie, there are a lot of parasites in mountain spring water. It's fine if you drink it once, but if you drink it every day, something bad will definitely happen." Young man, what nonsense are you talking? And you're even cursing me to have an accident. How did your parents raise you? You should show a little more respect to your elders when you're out in public. The mother-in-law got angry as soon as she heard that person speak and rushed forward to hit them, but was stopped by the person's friend. That person thought the mother-in-law might really be crazy. So, they quickly pulled their friend away and didn't want to pursue the matter any further, seeing the mother-in-law in this state. The others also grew a bit frightened, and soon only the mother-in-law was left near the spring. She didn't care in the slightest, focusing all her attention on her mountain spring water while muttering to herself, "They just don't know what's good for them. They won't even take the chance to live a long life." I went down for another round, estimating that my mother-in-law should have finished fetching water by now before heading back up. Yuan Yuan, you're here. Quick, help me carry these buckets of water downstairs. The expert is giving another lecture, and I need to hurry over. With that, my mother-in-law dashed off in a flash, leaving me alone with over a dozen buckets of mountain spring water. I was speechless. Even my husband couldn't move this much water effortlessly. Yet, she expected me to do it all by myself. It's like her brain's been hit with an iron rod. So, I found a clean spot nearby, sat down, and started playing on my phone with no intention of moving at all. By the time my mother-in-law returned, those dozen or so buckets of mountain spring water were still right where they had been. Yuan Yuan, what are you doing? I asked you to carry the water down. Why haven't you moved a single bucket? I rolled my eyes. Mom, it's so heavy. How could I possibly move it all by myself? Besides, I don't even drink it. If you shared some with me, maybe I'd help you carry it. I said that on purpose, knowing full well that my mother-in-law definitely wouldn't be willing to share with me. After all, there's only so much water you can bring back at once. If one more person drinks, she'll get less. Sure enough, as soon as I said that, my mother-in-law's expression changed. Humph, then I'll move it myself. And here I thought you'd changed for the better. But it seems you're still the same as before. Our Hui marrying you was like bringing home an ancestor. Scolding me seemed to fill my mother-in-law's energy the whole way. I watched her go up and down the mountain again and again to fetch water and couldn't help but laugh. Mom, why don't you just share a little with me so you don't have to work so hard? My mother-in-law glared at me fiercely. I won't share any with you. I'd rather feed it to the dogs than give it to you. When we get back, I'm going to tell Weiwei exactly how you treated me. I wasn't afraid at all. After all, I had already decided to divorce my husband. If I helped his mother cover up one crime, there would be a second time. I didn't want him to end up killing me again later. It wasn't until dark that my mother-in-law finally finished loading all the mountain spring water into the car. She lay panting on the back seat, and when she saw me coming, she didn't say a word, just closed her eyes and started sleeping. I ignored her, too, and drove straight back. My husband was already waiting for us downstairs. At home, in the car, my mother-in-law complained about me right in front of me, and when he saw me, his expression was clearly displeased. But he didn't say anything in front of his mother. After we moved all the water back, my mother-in-law was exhausted and fell asleep as soon as she lay down. My husband pulled me into the room, frowned, and said to me, Yuan Yuan, what's going on with you today? Mom's attitude toward you had just improved a bit last time, and now you're acting like this. Can't you just go along with her? Go along with her. Weiwei, you know how heavy the water is. Your mother wanted me to carry it all down the mountain by myself, and you still want me to go along with her. Yuan Yuan, my mom has had a tough life, too. My dad passed away early, and she raised me all by herself. Now that she can finally enjoy some peace, just go along with her a little. Okay, didn't you say just last time that since Mom is getting old, we should treat her well? My husband's words made me laugh in anger. This man is just shameless. His mother raised him and worked hard all these years. Yet now it's up to me to take care of her. It seems I've been quite successful as a doctor. I've suddenly given my husband a conscience and cured his eyes, allowing him to see how hard his mother used to work. Fine, then you be the one to treat her well. Li Jun, I used to put up with it because I loved you, but you always make me endure, and I'm almost turning into a ninja turtle. I don't want to put up with it anymore, and I'm done with this life. After saying that, I packed up my things and stormed out, slamming the door behind me. Don't talk about enduring for a while and waiting to see their comeuppance before tearing off the mask. I couldn't stay in such a home for another minute. Besides, with this mother and son, are we really afraid they'll grow a brain? After I left, I applied to the hospital for an external training opportunity. I originally thought that, after I left, Li Hui and his mother would be able to manage on their own. However, less than a week later, he called me. Yuan, are you still upset? I was wrong that day. I shouldn't have lost my temper with you, but I was just so worried about my mom. What if she had hurt her back? Then why weren't you worried about me hurting my back? I replied with a nonchalant tone, and Li Hui fell silent. He couldn't figure out how I had become so articulate now, especially since I never used to fight back even when his mother was particularly harsh on me. Yuan, I was just too anxious this time. Next time, I'll definitely go with you. It seemed something had happened. Otherwise, Li Hui wouldn't have been explaining himself to me like this. I didn't feel like guessing, so I asked directly, "What happened at home?" "It's all because of my mom. Ever since she got the idea that drinking mountain spring water can lead to longevity, she's been drinking it every day. That wouldn't be a problem. But she also believes that if she gets sick, she doesn't need to go to the hospital. Just drinking mountain spring water will cure her. The other day, she choked on a chicken bone while eating chicken soup and absolutely refused to go to the hospital." Li Hui quickly explained the matter to me, his tone also quite angry, making it clear that he finally realized just how troublesome his mother could be. I didn't expect his mother to actually have a mental issue. From what he said, it's been going on for a few days, and it's probably already inflamed and festering. Unfortunately, I am studying out of town and really can't make it back. Remember in the past, whenever something happened to Li Hui's mother, she and her son would always call me back to handle it, no matter what I was doing at the time. They always had to come first, even if it's just a trivial matter like a broken light at home. I have to go back and fix it, as if only they are human, and I'm not outsourcing filial piety is truly the method of showing respect that Li Hui is best at. Honey, it's not that I don't want to go back. I'm just too busy. But since Mom hasn't said anything, it probably isn't a big deal. Keep an eye on it for now, and if you really can't figure it out, go to the hospital. Without waiting for Li Hui to say anything, I hung up the phone directly, seeing that I wasn't coming back. Li Hui was filled with helpless rage. He wanted to vent his emotions, but didn't know who to direct it at, so he could only drag his exhausted body to take care of his mother. "Mom, just go to the hospital. If you wait too long, something is bound to go wrong." "No, I've already told you that mountain spring water can cure illnesses, but you just won't listen. If you hadn't found out today, maybe in a couple of days I would have been fine. Before, your wife was controlling me, and now that she's gone, you're here to control me too. How heartless." My mother-in-law glared at Li Hui and tightly hugged the mountain spring water in her hands, afraid it might be snatched away. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law still had to go to the hospital later to have the chicken bone removed surgically. I heard the flesh in her throat had started to rot, and if she hadn't had the surgery, who knows what could have happened. When I got home, I happened to see my mother-in-law scolding Li Hui. "I already said I didn't want to go. Look how much money this cost. It could have bought me so much mountain spring water." Hearing the door open and realizing I was back, my mother-in-law finally stopped talking. She looks noticeably less well than before. It seems the surgery has really taken a toll on her. Li Hui was actually quite happy to see me back. During the time I was away, he not only had to do laundry and housework when he got home, but also deal with his mother, which left him utterly exhausted. He was so tired that he didn't even bother shaving his beard. "Honey, you're finally back. I've missed you so much." He tried to rush over and give me a big hug, but I nimbly dodged him. "All right, I'm tired, too. Let's get some rest." After saying that, I went back to my own room, not wanting to engage in any more pretense with them. Li Hui seemed completely unaware of my coldness, still thinking I was the same as before. After he finished showering and got into bed, he tried to hug me, but I pushed him away. "All right, I'm tired, too. Let's get some rest." Li Hui still wanted to say something, but he has always been a chauvinist, Seeing me like this, he didn't want to be met with a cold shoulder, so he turned around angrily, covered his head, and fell into a deep sleep. I didn't care whether he was angry or not. Getting angry only hurts your own body. And if he wasn't worried about it, I certainly didn't need to be. The next morning, Li Hui was still giving me the cold shoulder. I glanced at him, said nothing, and walked out the door. There was a lot to do at the hospital today, and I couldn't afford to be late because of him. By the time I arrived at the hospital, patients had already started coming in one after another. During work, I completely lost track of time. If it weren't for the nurse reminding me to go for lunch, I wouldn't have realized it was already noon. Yuan. By the way, last time I saw your husband bringing your mother-in-law to the hospital, and she was even admitted. Did something happen? Someone who's close to me spotted me and came over to chat. It's just that the elderly are sick and refuse to come to the hospital. They keep dragging it out until minor issues turn into major problems. I shook my head and pretended to say, helplessly. The others also felt the same way, especially those whose mothers-in-law acted similarly. As daughters-in-law, it wasn't easy for them to say anything. After finishing the meal, I was just about to head back to work when Li Hui called me. I raised an eyebrow. This person was still scowling this morning. So, why is he taking the initiative to call me now? Hello, Yuan. You finally answered the phone. Mom's in trouble again. I did the math and figured it must be that my mother-in-law's cancer has been diagnosed. Sure enough, Li Hui mentioned that last time when his mother-in-law went to the hospital, he had her get a physical checkup as well. Not checking was fine, but the results were shocking. His mother-in-law was actually diagnosed with lung cancer, and although it was in the early stages, it was accompanied by parasitic and chemical poisoning. In the previous life, his mother-in-law didn't drink the mountain spring water, so only lung cancer was detected, and there were no other health issues. Li Hui panicked immediately and called me without a moment's delay. I chuckled to myself. When his mother had an issue, instead of taking her to the hospital, he called me. Wasn't it just to have me run around and handle everything? But it's good that I go. Lest Li Hui stops his mother from drinking the mountain spring water. When people get old, they still need something to hold on to, spiritually. I took a leave of absence and took my mother-in-law to another hospital for a checkup. After all, I didn't want to lose face in front of my colleagues. We finally got our turn, and as soon as we entered, the doctor started discussing my mother-in-law's health condition. It's still in the early stages, and with proper treatment, it can be controlled. But regarding the parasites and chemical substances, I'd like to ask what your family usually eats, or if you've been to any particular places. My mother-in-law likes to drink mountain spring water, which is fetched from the neighboring mountain. Do you think it has any impact? Upon hearing this, the doctor frowned. Drinking mountain spring water occasionally is fine, but consuming it over a long period could very likely lead to parasitic infections. You must stop drinking it from now on. With proper treatment, you should recover soon. You quack. What nonsense are you spouting? My mother-in-law immediately flushed with anger and glared at the doctor. How can you say that? Experts have said that drinking mountain spring water is beneficial for health. Who do you think you are? Some kind of expert telling me not to drink mountain spring water if it delays my chance to live a long life. Can you take responsibility for that? She wasn't content with just being sharp-tongued. She swept everything off the doctor's desk onto the floor, transforming into a master of desk clearing. The doctor and nurses were startled and quickly called security to escort the mother-in-law out. As the dutiful daughter-in-law, I didn't forget to pick up the medicine for my mother-in-law so I could give Li Hui an explanation when he asked. This was also my final gift to Li Hui before the divorce. Unfortunately, now is not the right time for a divorce, but it's getting close judging by my mother-in-law's antics. I believe the time for my freedom is not far off. After returning home, my mother-in-law remained angry, thinking the hospital was no good. that the doctor who treated her was incompetent and even suspecting that her cancer diagnosis was a misdiagnosis. In the end, all that anger was directed at me. After cursing the doctor, my mother-in-law started cursing me. You're just being stingy and don't want to spend money on me, aren't you? Otherwise, why wouldn't you take me to a better hospital? Let me tell you, don't even think about cutting off my mountain spring water. I bought that with my own money. Mom, stop right there. I chuckled. I never said I wanted to cut off your mountain spring water. It's just that Li Hui will definitely find out about this, and what he decides to do is none of my business. My mother-in-law remembered that I hadn't actually tried to stop her, so she pursed her lips, but then she immediately hardened her tone and said, well, then don't tell Li Hui. He cares about me, and if he finds out I'm sick, he'll definitely try to stop me from drinking it. This person is really strange. When I stop her, it's seen as me being unkind, but when her son stops her, it's considered filial piety. I sneered coldly. This wasn't up to her. Li Hui is her son, and I won't take on responsibilities that should be his. As soon as Li Hui returned in the evening, I told him about the test results and what the doctor had said. Sure enough, as soon as he heard this, he wanted me to persuade his mother. Yuan, you go talk to Mom. You're a doctor. She'll definitely listen to you. Looking at this man, I really don't know how I ever fell for him in the past. I must have been blind. Li Hui, I've already tried to persuade her, but Mom won't listen to me. You're her son. You should go instead. Mom will surely understand that you have her best interests at heart. Li Hui also knew that the relationship between his mother and me wasn't good, so he nodded and said he would find a time to talk to his mother. I don't care whether he was just saying it or actually planning to say it. I've done my utmost. Li Hui waited several days before bringing the matter up with his mother-in-law, and they ended up having an argument, but the mother-in-law remained stubborn in her opinion. So, Li Hui had no choice but to pour out all the mountain spring water and replace it with tap water from home while she was away. As a good daughter-in-law, I couldn't let my mother-in-law be deceived. So, I deliberately mentioned the matter while talking on the phone with a friend just as my mother-in-law was coming home. She overheard it. Upon learning the truth, my mother-in-law was furious again. As soon as Li Hui returned home in the evening, he was met with her storm of anger. Li Hui, I worked so hard to raise you, and I never expected anything in return from you. But you actually secretly poured out my mountain spring water. You don't want me to live anymore. No wonder I've been feeling unwell these past few days. It turns out it's because I haven't been drinking the mountain spring water. If I hadn't overheard your wife's phone call, I might have died without even knowing why. As she spoke, the mother-in-law began to cry on the balcony, shouting, "What a disgrace to the family! I raised an ungrateful son who won't even let me drink water." Soon, a crowd gathered outside as there were plenty of people eager to watch a spectacle. Seeing this, Li Hui quickly pulled his mother back inside, not wanting to lose face for no reason. "All right, Mom, drink. Just drink." He sat on the sofa, covering his face, utterly helpless. He had no idea when his mother had become so unreasonable. It took him a while to calm down before he finally noticed me. It seemed as if he had thought of something. His eyes filled with blame. Yuan, look at you. You weren't careful at all when making that call, and my mom overheard it, causing so much trouble. My mom already doesn't like you normally, so you should have been even more careful. Maybe then her attitude toward you would have been a little better, and I could have had an easier time, too. You're blaming me. I was utterly confused. Li Hui, how was I supposed to know your mom would come home so soon? I was just making a phone call in my own house. Is that even a mistake? Honey, that's not what I meant. Seeing that I was furious, Li Hui immediately tried to make amends. He was quite skilled at slapping someone and then offering a sweet date. He had it down to an art. I slapped away his hand as he tried to touch me. Disgusting thing. Stay away from me. That's exactly what you mean. You want me not only to earn money outside, but also to dress up beautifully to bring you face. And on top of that, take good care of the household. You know perfectly well how your mother usually treats me. Instead of trying to ease the tension between us, you want to use me as your tool to play the bad guy, making me the one everyone dislikes. You really have it all figured out, don't you? Getting a free nanny without spending a single penny, and one who's willing to work tirelessly. Ask yourself honestly, have you ever treated my parents as well as I've treated your mother? Fine. Since that's what you think, and I truly can't meet those expectations, then let's just get a divorce. You can go find a new wife who meets all your requirements in every way. After saying that, I went back to my room without even looking back. Slamming the door and storming out like in a TV drama would indeed feel satisfying, but I paid the monthly mortgage for this house. So why should I be the one to leave? If anyone has to go, he should be the one to leave. After that day, I started preparing for the division of assets in the divorce. Li Hui wasn't unwilling to reconcile, but his mother kept urging us to get a divorce. My mother-in-law always wanted a grandson. It wasn't that I didn't want to have one. It was that Li Hui said he didn't want to have children during his career advancement period. But my mother-in-law didn't see it that way. She always believed it was my fault. Now that we're getting divorced, she can't wait to set off firecrackers in celebration. She's even willing to compromise on marital property just to get the divorce finalized quickly. That way, Li Hui can remarry sooner and give her a grandson to take care of. The day I walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I felt a great sense of relief. The fate of a tragic death in my previous life had finally left me. Li Hui stood behind me, gazing at me with deep affection in his eyes. He probably still had some feelings for me. After all, it's not easy to find a woman who is beautiful, earns well, and takes good care of the home. Just looking at his eyes made me sick. Li Hui, although I am your ex-wife now, and your mother has no relation to me anymore, as a doctor, I still want to remind you, since your mother is already ill, she should receive proper treatment and not engage in all sorts of unnecessary things. Seeing that Li Hui misunderstood, thinking I still had feelings for him, which is why I reminded him, I immediately turned and walked away. I wasn't giving a kind reminder. I wanted to stir up another argument between Li Hui and his mother, preferably one that would shake the heavens and split the earth. After all, the more miserable my enemies are, the happier I am. After leaving that home, I threw myself wholeheartedly into my work. Unfortunately, I still heard news about Li Hui and his mother from time to time. Hey, that old lady just caused another big scene. Again, not to be rude, but if she thinks her condition is worsening because the hospital's medicine is useless, why does she keep coming to the hospital every other day? So, I heard they say that Auntie really believes in the health experts' recommendation that drinking mountain spring water leads to a long life. If she just moves to the mountains, wouldn't she be able to drink it every day? The story of Li Hui's mother has spread throughout hospitals across the city. The hottest topic in the medical community right now is which hospital she's causing a scene at today. However, over time, reports of her causing disturbances at hospitals gradually decreased. One reason is that many hospitals have blacklisted her, so she can no longer enter. Second, because she was brainwashed by health experts into believing that only mountain spring water could save her. She sold the family house, moved into the mountains, and drank mountain spring water every day. I laughed when I heard this news. I remember when we were getting divorced, and I asked for money. As soon as Li Hui's mother heard the news, she urged Li Hui to transfer the house into her name. Actually, she had wanted to do this from the very beginning when we bought the house, and Li Hui was also willing to do it. After all, she was his mother, so it didn't matter whose name the house was under. Li Hui even told me that his mother had a hard time raising him, and we should be extra filial to her. It's just that our family firmly opposed this matter, so they didn't succeed. Now, after the divorce, Li Hui finally got to be filial to his mother and became a dutiful son. Unexpectedly, he was tricked by his mother. Not only did he lose the house, but even his bank card was stolen, leaving him with nothing but bare walls. Li Hui still wants to come back to me, begging me to remarry him. I kicked him out of the hospital. It's truly shamelessness that makes one invincible. We've already torn up all pretense between us, and yet he still expects me to clean up his mess. I immediately blocked all his contact information, went to his company to report him, and after that, I felt incredibly refreshed, as if my health had improved significantly. Li Hui's mother was in the early stages of cancer, which could actually be controlled, but she was just too stubborn, not only refusing to take medication or undergo checkups, but also insisting on moving to the village, drinking mountain spring water contaminated with parasites and chemicals every day. It didn't take long for her condition to worsen, and the next time she was seen, she was emaciated and hospitalized. Even while lying in her hospital bed, she kept insisting on drinking the mountain spring water, claiming it would grant her a long life and cure her illness. In this life, we are completely different from the previous one. In the previous life, Li Hui's mother also had cancer, but I took meticulous care of her, and she looked no different from a normal elderly woman. But in this life, she is nothing but a skeleton with worms wriggling beneath a thin layer of skin, looking utterly terrifying. I looked down at her from above, just as she looked at me when she pushed me down in the previous life. Yuan Yuan. Call Hui Hui. She spoke with great difficulty. I had heard from others that Li Hui had cut ties with her because she sold the house and stole all his money. So naturally, he wouldn't come to see her now. I couldn't stand the thought of an elderly person being left alone and helpless in the hospital. So I immediately had someone report the abandonment of an elderly person to the police. Li Hui would have to come, whether he wanted to or not. After all, his mother raised him with great difficulty, and now that she's old, Li Hui can't just ignore her. So every day, I see Li Hui sitting impatiently in the hospital room playing games. He doesn't even care when his mother soils herself. And the room stinks so much that other patients have complained he won't listen when asked to clean up. And if you say too much, he just acts shamelessly, telling anyone who can't stand it to move his mother to a private room. Others really didn't know how to deal with this kind of person, so they had no choice but to swallow their anger. However, some people didn't put up with Li Hui and directly threw his mother's diaper at his head, even stuffing it into his mouth. I wasn't on the scene at the time and missed seeing it, which is truly a pity. After this, I no longer wanted to pay any attention to them. Li Hui, who outsourced his filial duties, was held hostage by his sense of obligation, unable to work in escaping reality through gaming. My former mother-in-law, who caused my death, fell ill and now lives a life worse than death. Meanwhile, I became a top-tier cardiology expert when I grew old. Reaching the age of Li Hui's mother, my own children had also grown up. I don't get involved in their lives at all. I listen carefully to all their concerns. This is the way families should interact. And it's a lesson I learned from Li Hui and his mother. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.